When we begin an original piece here at Hunt Country Jewelers, we often start by getting an idea on paper. From pictures with notes and scribbles to our crude sketches, the main idea is to make sure everyone's on the same page going into the project. Here is a rough sketch of our aqua ring. This is a two-tone design, which is important to know because it's a slightly more complicated process and we'll plan on some extra steps in the construction. The ring design includes a stylized partial bezel on the four corners of the center stone, a square diamond, in this case a princess cut set in a full bezel as an accent, and a channel of small round diamonds known as diamond melee. Knowing the mechanics we use in our wax carving technique and with this design in mind, we start the project by slicing a strip of wax and wrapping it around a metal mandrel. The mandrel is a specific finger size and provides a platform to hold while building the ring. From here, Ed will add the aqua to the wax to build on, spending some time to square the stone to the mandrel. Next, he'll add two more small strips of wax to the corners of the stone, and a third down the shank for a quick boost of extra material needed to begin roughing out the shape of the design. As we watch Ed carefully alter the shapes and curves of the wax according to the design, let's take a moment to explain why he's only working on one side of the ring. In this case, the ring design is symmetrical on the left and the right sides. So, we are going to fully carve one side of the ring, cast it into metal, mold this metal prototype, then take two wax injections and assemble them together. This process will be shown in more detail in later videos, but the end result is a much more symmetrical product than had we carved the complete ring by hand. Back to Ed carving away. The main lines of the design have been put in, still slightly crude, but next Ed will set the diamond into the wax. Including the diamond directly in the wax is a very useful reference for spacing and proportions, allowing for corrections as we're still early in the project. With the stone in place, Ed will adjust the lines and curves to meet his expectations, followed by a small amount of cleanup. The next lines to go in are the flares down the shank. Ed will start these off with sheet wax again, and then refine the shapes before moving on to the next step. In this case, he will spend a couple of extra minutes hot tooling before adding the last design element, as he knows getting back to this area later for cleanup will be difficult. The final piece of this design is the curve at the top that will later support our channel of diamonds. This will be disassembled later, but to ensure the proportions of this piece are correct, we'll add it now. Ed has chosen to create the peak in the center through the addition of wax. Notice how he draws wax up to the aqua, adds extra material, and then refines the shapes. For the sides, though, he used small strips of wax cut from a larger sheet and then subtracted excess material. The majority of the time, creating a design element using addition versus subtraction doesn't matter so long as the end product is the same. However, typically one method is more efficient in any given scenario and determines what methods we use. Once the design is roughed out, a significant amount of time is spent hot tooling out irregularities, defining creases, truing symmetry, and in general, cleaning up the wax in preparation for working in metal. In the next video, we'll clean up the inside of the half ring, disassemble parts of it, and then add sprues in preparation for casting.